and raw gold to the global north to actually use it against the global south. And it must really rotate around that so that we have mutual diplomatic relations, mutual economic diplomacy, but all win-win partnerships, not to look at Africa or the global south in the terms of NAM members as sources of raw materials, while you are abusing their territorial integrity. You cannot also allow them to actually enjoy their extended family tradition values.
Okay.
So the future of the world relies in this NAM convention and the G7 to say, hey, we are being poor people, but we are the rich people today. Can we now develop an education that will allow our students to really graduate with jobs, to innovate the cars, the laptops, to these cameras, so that now we can export not the raw materials, but export finished products to the global south, the global north.
All
so
right.
that is the future of NAM, and I expect more from His Excellency the President in terms of preparation. I cannot say he's the best president because look at the city that is hosting. Really, swimming pool, we are swimming in potholes. How can a hosting country be in potholes like this? Look at the young people, the level of young people's confusion, youth unemployment. Look at the technology. 99% of the products in the country, actually 7 is 78% of all the things we use in Uganda are all imported. China, what? So NAM may not benefit Uganda and Africa, but it's going to benefit still the global north because we are confused. The identity-based conflicts, Munyankole cannot talk to Emukonjo, Emutoro cannot talk to Alchali, the Muganda cannot talk to Musoka. Confusion. So we got to really rebuild Africa, rebuild the world, and the focus of NAM's vision to unite people beyond territorial issues like now Africa is divided. Why is it divided? When Mwalimu Julius Nyerere said in this conference that Africa must integrate,
Okay.
How far have we reached that?
All right. Thank you so much, Ambassador Milton Kambula. Allow me cross over to Daniel Nwabine. KCCA Kampala is hosting this very important summit. You've heard from the political wing, educating us about the history and what NAM should really mean, but I would love to know how ready we are as a hosting city and a hosting country. How is KCCA, if you can use this very platform and program and for radio stations and also streaming live for those who are part of us, to know how ready we are as a hosting country, as a hosting city. Are there new things that we have brought in place because of this NAM, or we are still swimming in potholes, as Milton Kambala says?
Well, one, I must note, Amon, that this is a humbling experience, being around intellectual gurus and gentlemen with a wealth of knowledge on global and national issues. I am a bicycle mechanic amidst aero engineers in matters of the world. But I will not say that we are swimming in potholes, per se. I will not say that we are...
Someone who said this is a resident of Kampala, and
yes,
perhaps...
I will not say that. Neither will I say that we are divided, per se.
Mm.
When I look at the table on which we are seated, and by the names on the poster, we are Uganda. We are representation of the campus in Uganda. Maybe the gender aspect, but at least
Regions are fully
everyone
represented.
is fully represented at this table. And I think that is part of consolidating the sovereignty.
So we have
of this
achieved,
country.
in this program, we have achieved
At
already
least
one objective of
sovereignty.
NAM.
But back to the infrastructure in our city. We indeed have about 2,000 kilometers of road, and part of that is about 600 kilometers that are fully tarmacked, and another about 300 that are in there. They are gravel, good gravel, and motorable gravel, but still that leaves us with a huge chunk of our road network, not in a very, very good state, but in a motorable state. KCCA has had a number of interventions, and these are straight from government. We had the Kampala infrastructure development, that is KIDIP, and we had KIDIP 2, and now we have the African Development Bank that is funding us under the Kampala City Roads Rehabilitation Project. It's a rehabilitation project. We're not putting up new roads, but rather rehabilitating those that we have, upgrading them to tarmac and lighting them, having our drainages in order, and local interventions from the road fund as well as annual budget releases. Now, if you had the president a while ago, towards the end of December, he noted that as a country, we have been having challenges of infrastructure. And if you look at if you're to look and gauge the infrastructure development of the country or of the city, you should look at the overall development. Needless to say, yes, the outside of Kampala is now done. From border to border, we have a tarmac road. It takes a shorter time to traverse this country. But Kampala, where 75% of the revenue comes from, we still have areas that have a problem. Now, the PSST, that is the permanent secretary to the Treasury, who is also the permanent secretary, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, noted that it is true Kampala and the greater metropolitan area have had challenges because of prioritization and ensuring that goods get to the city for them to be bought. We have projects like that of the African Development Bank, which is going to work on over 70 kilometers of road and pavement. And now, because we saved some money, we're going to add there about another 35 or so kilometers. We have a project of the Greater Kampala metropolitan area, which is funded by the World Bank. We're having numerous roads that are going to be worked upon. But we have also worked on and upgraded a number of roads. In the NAM preparation, for example, we have worked on over 36 kilometers of road. We have opened up the drainages, and these roads are going to stay here. I think this is one of the benefits of NAM. Now, as a city, we are on a trajectory of development. We are reducing potholes, yet those that are reduced, the areas where we have worked upon, the cameras are moving away from there and going on to where we have not worked upon. Now, when you look at 8th Street, 7th Street, 5th Street and 6th Street, where we have a challenge, we have already started work on those areas. Contracts have been issued. If you look at Salama Road, advanced works have been done. When we go to the overall drainage situation, we have had illegal developments across the city. This is a challenge not only to us.
What are some of those illegal developments you mentioned?
Illegal developments, someone can build in the path of a drainage channel. And this arises out of impunity. But we are coming up and saying, no, enough is enough. And you have seen over the television, you have been following our social media statuses. We have been continuously with UBC, wherever we have been working, we are breaking down and as well as engaging. That's after engagement of these people that you're in the wrong place and they are moving. If you look at the floods that we had, we no longer have a 30-minute flooding of the city. We have reduced to about 4 minutes after a heavy downpour, and the water is cleared. So we are moving forward. My senior, I really admired all the presentations, but from the hand, everywhere, all people. Talked about the monuments. Yes, summits like these are huge for the city and country, There are monuments that have been set up. If you go to Mnyonyo, the Mnyonyo roundabout, we have a NAM monument emphasizing the global south, emphasizing the unity.
You have just elected it, or it has been there?
No, it is part of the preparations, and it is fully erected now, well lit. It shall be launched as well, and it is there to stay. It's a very beautiful monument. And as a city, we have engaged the people of Kampala, we have engaged the people of Makinji division to welcome our guests, to showcase what we have. That is why we are working day and night to make sure that area where NAM is going to happen is motorable, is beautiful. The people there are painting their buildings, they are paving their frontages, they are greening. We have planted over 10,000 trees, and these 10,000 trees of the over 4 million that we want to plant over the next 5 years are an indicator of a beginning of taming and responding to climate change. This is now I can call ground zero for Kampala, for Kampala as well. We have started a new chapter, and we are glad that we shall remember this chapter of development, this chapter of greening, this chapter of having a smart city as having coincided with hosting the NAM summits.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Daniel. At least KCCA is doing something for our guests. I hope these activities and on projects continue even after we have had these important summits. Allow me come to you, Dr. Omara. If you can update the country on how far we have reached as a country, but also as the ministry, how many are expecting. If you can also update us, how many have confirmed by this time, and how many countries, and on from which continents, Doctor?
Thank you, Amon. First of all, allow me to mention something about because my colleague from the Congress, Dr. Chris, said that NAM, everything about NAM is silent. I think that is not exactly correct. I know that branding for NAM is being done, and we have been trying to create awareness about NAM and G77 summits. If you check the arrival areas, the airport and the road to the venue, branding is being done in all those areas. Ambassador Milton also mentioned that NAM may not benefit anyone. I think that is his view, but I believe that NAM and G77 summits, first of all, one, it has created employment. The people who are working on the infrastructure, the people who are whatever, and then and their linkages. So somehow it is benefiting already. Even the delegates, we expect over 2,000 delegates who will be coming to attend both summits, and I believe those delegates will inject some finances into our economy. But allow me to also inform listeners about the Group of 77. The Group of 77 plus China is a term used in reference to the 77 developing countries who first signed the joint declaration of the first session of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development in Geneva in 1964. The membership of Group of 77 plus China is 134 countries. And so if we are going to host the Group of 77 or the Third South Summit, it will be hosted from 18th to 22nd of January. So as you can see, these two summits are back to back. Now, the G77's present day focus is on articulating the collective economic interests of its members and upscaling the joint negotiating capacity on all major economic issues within the United Nations system. Now, why is the G77 plus China convening in Uganda in 2024? It is the turn of an African country to bear the honor of hosting a G77 summit. This is in keeping with the agreed principle of rotation between Africa, Latin America, Asia Pacific, and the Caribbean. And in this regard, Uganda was elected as temporary president of the G77 plus China in September 2023 in New York. In this role, Uganda is poised to be at the forefront of major global decision making within the United Nations system. So that in itself means that Uganda will be one of the major global players within the global political system. And the theme for this year's summit is leaving no one behind, as Milton mentioned earlier. Now, the theme for non-aligned movement is deepening cooperation for shared global affluence. Now, I'm mentioning this because these two summits are back to back, and therefore, as one is ending, another one will be beginning. You can imagine we have 120 delegations for NAM. Amon, you did ask that how many countries have confirmed. Now, for non-aligned movement, all the 120 countries have confirmed attendance.
That's interesting.
Now, we also know that heads of states have also confirmed, and their confirmations are still coming. We have about 30 heads of states have already confirmed. We have got about 5 vice presidents have confirmed, and the confirmations are still coming. But those that are not sending their heads of states, they have sent official representation. And what I can say is that all the delegations have at least confirmed attendance. So that means that we are going to have quite a number of people. Now you can imagine if 120 members have confirmed, and then you have G77 plus China, 134 delegations have also confirmed. Now, some of the delegations that are coming for NAM, we have 52 members who are both NAM and G77 members. So those delegations, some of them will continue from NAM and then continue to G77. But we have about 68.
How is the number for those who are going to stay, especially those who are members of NAM and at the same time members of G77 plus China?
Yes, some of the countries, they are sending different delegations for NAM as well as different...
Even when we have still...
yes, and different delegations for the G77 plus summit.
Okay.
But some countries or some member states who are both members of NAM and G77, their delegations will stay and continue with the G77 summit. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Omara. Dr. Rwanga.
Yes, please.
Non-Allied movement recognizes and embraces United Nations as a global peacekeeping platform or organization. But with the things that have been taking place and which are still taking place, a number of events worldwide, we still have the people of Ukraine still dying. We still have the Parisians still dying, and so many wars and events that have been claiming lives of people. And Kampala put some how tribes in Africa and many other parts of the world are not cooperating and not living to the expectations of mutual cooperation, when we are still recognizing UN as peacekeeping mission. Is this a myth?
I would say that life is full of struggles and full of challenges. What makes life better is focused and visionary leadership. If you have that leadership at whatever level, whether local, national, regional, international, you know you are home and dry, things will be okay. But now in this context, we are having leadership, especially if I'm to go with my global ambassador, which is not honest, which is not sincere. And our lack of honesty and sincerity is on the DRC question before we go any further. DRC consumed the Secretary General. This is the, what is the name of Daga Hamashujod. DRC was on the verge of breaking away as soon as they got independence. Shaba Katanga wanting to succeed with the Shombe. DRC consumed its first prime minister, with America stepping on the other side and Russia stepping in on the other side. When all that was settling down, the Western world together with America imposed the Mobutu on the DRC people, and it struck a deal that we can share the resources between us and you. And that time it was a mere primitive accumulation of capital, and DRC giving its ordinary resources. But now DRC has become more prized because the latest strategic minerals which boost the world in the digital age are almost all coming from DRC. What do we need to do now is to wake up, defend the sovereignty, the integrity of DRC. And DRC, we acknowledge it is a sleeping giant to the entire non-aligned movement. When you put shape in the DRC, you have solved almost the global problems of the world. As I said here when I was hosted some time back, I told you that DRC through Inga Dam, River Congo, has a capacity, okay, of pumping the entire Africa with the hydroelectricity needed. And that would mean that this question of climate change, global warming we are talking about would be solved by the hydroelectric power from Inga Dam. So NAM, AU, and even United Nations have to come in and to say, how do we patch up this project for the good of Africa? Similarly now, Brazil, which shelters Amazon forest, and even DRC, which shelters Congo forest, they are being looked at that there are only centers where you can produce oxygen more than other regions, and they are trying to talk to them that please don't cut any tree. We are ready even to give you money. Here is money, don't cut. But Harmony, you know that you have even your trucks from here which go and pull out the trucks from DRC of timber and what have you. So it is essentially us who are our enemies from the starting point. We are our enemies from the starting point. We need to work out from the slumber. We need to see things in the totality. And we need to follow these examples. Our brothers and sisters in the part of Asia, we are also suffering like us. But they said, let us settle down. What can we do which can preserve us? One, they said we must have a culture of how we dress. Those people have maintained a culture how they dress. Okay? Yes! We must have that culture. You can imagine if you are now dressing your own clothes you manufacture, how much income, how much local industry, how much nationalism have you pushed up?
Okay.
It is too much.
All right.
Okay. Then they also said we must, as much as possible, promote our language. Okay. And if we can spread our language to other parts of the world, we can do it. Okay. Now Africa, you are still having arguments. Is it Swahili? Is it Hausa? Is it Uganda? Is it Chinyankole? Okay. Even when East Africa has adopted Swahili with the Swahili anthem, East African community, we are still having arguments. Okay. So the thing still goes back to the leadership. Okay. And most of these African countries, why they are betraying us, they accepted the structural adjustment programs which were imposed on us by World Bank and the IMF.
What
and
are those?
When they accepted that, they strangled all their public corporations, all parastatals, and said, you people from outside with better brain, with better vision, with better capability, come and you take over all this. And everything was taken over. And when everything was taken over, again we went into another compliance that please, you are free then to take whatever profits you have made. Okay? We shall not mind about you, provided you give us salaries, you rent our accommodation, and you employ a few people you may wish. And if you want, you can incorporate one or two on the board of directors. This is the terrible mistake for Africa. This is the tragedy for Africa. And that is where Africa lost a cutting edge. And it is disturbing Africa. I'm happy, and I must say this. Our government has realized the last moment that some of those things they did are causing us a problem. That's why now we are talking a language of Uganda Airlines being back in the skies. That's why we are now talking a language that Post Bank, at whatever cost, become a fully-fledged bank. Because we are hunting for Uganda Commercial Bank, we can't see it. We are hunting for Cooperative Bank, we can't see it. And you cannot engineer spur development in an economy where you are not part of the banking sector of it. I don't even know where the PDM money, policy development money, which is huge, where it is going to pass.
Interesting.
Which banks they are going to employ. Okay, these are sort of serious challenges we are having. So to go back to your question, it is not a myth as such as you have tried to say. Our lives can be made better and much better if we sort out the leadership question.
All right.
And the leadership question is that wholeheartedly we accept democracy, not in words, not in rhetoric, and we go to practice it.
Right.
And when we practice democracy, it is the ordinary person, the ordinary citizen, who is a master of the leader. But here, a leader makes himself a master. It is across Africa, okay? Not
Okay,
in
Doctor.
Uganda scenario.
Okay.
So, when I say that it is leadership, and it is us to make the leadership, okay? It is us to stream leadership,
Okay.
to work towards leadership. The quality we do in teaching in schools contributes to the leadership. The way you invite us to debate here, we are contributing to the leadership. So the leadership, it is a domestic requirement which spreads. I go back, we have quoted here Nyerere. Nyerere said in order to create Tanzania, he had to forego more than 100 tribes. Okay? You, Harmony, you are there entertaining all sorts of things. Even when us, we helped you and we delivered the republic, okay, with the Republican Constitution, you are starting to do things we don't understand. Do you want to move with the republicanism? Do you want to move with the full national integration into East African community? If that is the case, then why are you balkanizing?
All right.
Why are you making Kampala City Council to have 6 divisions? Okay, and are you aware how those divisions are performing? Are they 6? Are they 4? 5? Why? Okay, these are sort of issues which come in. The more you balkanize, you may not know that Rubaga division does not have enough trucks to carry garbage. A Kawempe division may not have enough what? So you spread your resources, very unfortunately.
Okay.
When I was growing,
Thank you, Doctor.
I was admiring Kampala City Council workers. They used it to have those gumboots. They used it to have those overalls. They used it to have those powerful vehicles collecting garbage, okay, with the clear labels.
But now,
you don't know whether they are collecting charcoal, whether they are collecting what. They are poorly dressed. They are, okay. You ask anybody who used it to see council workers in the 1970s.
interesting. This is UBC Ground Zero. We are live and clear on 4 radio stations.
We are representing Uganda People's Congress, and we are the people who delivered the independence to Uganda. So we are very critical because we have a record. So you will excuse me if I step on your toes.
Indeed. Ground Zero 98.0 FM, UBC Radio. We're also in Arua. We are also connected to Table Radio in Eastern Uganda. We also live and clear on Magic 100 FM in the central parts of this country. 4 radio stations broadcasting live, UBC Ground Zero, and also streaming live on YouTube. Just put UBC Live and you'll be part of this conversation. I have a privilege and honor to have in the studios of UBC Dr. Sam Omara is the head of Public Diplomacy Department from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Dr. Christopher Wanga is the head of research and ideology coming from UPC. We have Kambala Milton, Peace Service Ambassador, Global Peace Foundation, and Daniel Nwabine is the lead PR KCCA NAM Task Force. Ampaire Amanoptega is my name. For those who want to be part of us, send your messages on 0701 24 26 47. Keep your messages coming through. I'll be reading one by one, and those who would love to call be part of the conversation or ask anything about NAM and Allied Movement, the summit that we're hosting as a country from 15th to 20th is 0776 511 426. If you can allow me get a few callers before we go for a break. UBC.
Hello?
You're live and clear.
How are you, sir?
Okay.
Yeah,
Your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling from Hoima. I'm at Highway.
At Highway from Hoima.
Yeah,
Thank you for being part of us. Your concern, please.
yes.
Hello?
I was there.
We're okay.
Okay.
Now is
I
NAM,
want-
are you preparing for NAM?
Yes.
776-511-426 is the number you can call. You can, someone who calling was from Hoima, you said you wanted to and then you didn't mention. If you can call again and submit your concern. Live and clear on UBC. This is UBC Ground Zero.
Yes, good morning, sir.
A very good morning to you. Your name and where you calling us from?
Yes, I'm calling Wamboko Chituno, and I'm calling from Nakawa.
Nakawa, yes, please.
Just calling the radio, I want to appreciate the presenters there.
Thank you.
Especially the last one, the doctor. I think doctor, I have not known his name.
Dr.
But he has
Rwanga.
presented very well.
Thank you, sir.
You know, in Uganda, I think we are the leadership is betraying us. First of all, they don't sensitize the benefits of such movements like that NAM you're talking about. The local person does not know what NAM means. We are understanding it around Kampala. When you go deep down in Busoga, do they know what it means? Has the leadership made enough sensitization to people to know what Uganda benefits from this NAM? How much have we put in? Because we are using taxpayers' money to host this NAM movement. This movement. How much are we going to benefit? Whatever we benefit, what is going to how is it going to improve on our country? Now, because of lack of that accountability, we keep on having this movement or this this organization is coming, and we end up just hearing about them coming in, but we cannot know the real benefit to the local person. Other than that, I thank all the presenters in the video. Doctor, thank you very much. I have listened to you. I want the studio to tell us the name of the doctor. We know him. Maybe we shall go to him for more consultation.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for being part of us. 98.0 FM, UBC Radio, and on the other platforms. We're also live and clear on Butebo Radio, on Magic 100 FM radio, and on also West Nile Radio. UBC,
this is Banga Joseph from Koboko.
Koboko, you're live and clear. Your concern, please.
Thank you so much. I've been enjoying this program, and it's a nice one. And I've been recalling, these African founding leaders, which includes, of course, the UPC party. And I remember sharing with my late father, who had been a state minister of labor during Obote 1, the time, Honorable Alex Lobida, who is now late. And he had been talking about this same area here, which today had come to me to memorize all what has done to us. The problem to us, because there's no appreciation of whoever had been there as a leader, and then as of now, we also do appreciate our government, our NRM government. Therefore, I feel let this talk be put into action. I thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, sir, for being part of UBC. Keep your messages coming through. I'm going to be reading one by one later on, but I would love to have a quick one from Kambula, Daniel, and Omara before I take a break and also get to the concerns of the people of Uganda. Milton, a quick one. Of course, I will give you time, all of you, to answer the people of Uganda, their concerns and their issues. But have we lived to the expectations, the goals and objectives of the founding fathers of non-allied movement? We have been talking about the Jose Tito, we've been talking about the Nelson Mandelas, we've been talking about the Nehru of India, but we have about 60 plus years down the road since 1961, but we are still having countries still affected by poverty. The infrastructure of their cities still very poor. Have we in any way lived to their expectations?
must say my marks are 0. They have performed 0.000. And any number you multiply by 0 is 0.
No achievement, no goal realized.
Let me tell you, I work around the globe. We are promoting peace around 50 countries around the world. I know what's going on around these nations. And I know how overwhelmed the president is when he came to power to really activate these visions. And after 40 years of his leadership, I know as a leader he makes a SWOT analysis and say, after 40 years, what has been my response to these global, regional and local challenges. He has done well on the regional front. Really, I have to commend him, the peace and stability he has created. But when it comes to these global magnitude problems, when you see the biggest signatories at the United Nations, one single continent that approves what's going on at the United Nations is Africa. You have 54 signatures. What they are signing for is actually against them. For example, if you say, have they achieved? In the field of education alone, what was the vision of education? The vision of education for NAM 60 years ago was to propel an education that works for the people of those countries. Look at what is happening today. Just get around yourself in your home. From the underwear, the suitcases, the TVs, the phones people are holding, everything including the underwears and the weaves of women. Where are they manufactured from? Now, as a scientist, doctor is here. He will believe on the scholarly front. When we are measuring leadership, you're talking about leadership. How do you measure that leadership is working? From what people are dressing, from what people are eating, from what people are using, and their mindset. The whole system is dead. They have not achieved anything because everything seems to be from the West. When we are here talking about NAM, my brother, he is talking about World Bank funding, and it's not him. It's actually not. This is correct. It's correct. The fact is, NAM is there, but there is something behind. Something behind is still using World Bank loans to construct the roads, using the Western weapons, using the education of colonial system, those colonialists who came here during the 1950s, 60s, 70s. It cannot produce any NAM member to become a global player on the same table.
All right.
So in conclusion, I must say that the future of the president, this is what we call legacy project for the president. And I want to really say, foreign affairs, you have a task to read the minds of the president. What does he want to leave for Africa? Because that was his major focus when he came to power, to make sure the day he leaves power, Africa is integrated, culturally, politically, economically, that to the extent that we can take care of ourselves. It is not just the NAM. NAM, it is China donating cars. I am here using what we call a machine. It's called donated by the people of Japan. Okay. But what about South Korea? South Korea has built its country from scratch. Singapore, Malaysia. What is the NAM countries doing in Africa?
Okay.
So I must say, Ugandans, this will benefit us. I am not saying hosting is bad. Let us host many of them. Actually, more of them. Let us every day host many of them so that these people can wake up, can re-examine, assess, and one of which is to assess whether our tribes are united. Where are our kings? The role of kings, where are they? They are being put in, I don't know whether they know even their roles.
Thank you.
Where are the religious leaders in this? So I must say, Ugandans, let's be united. NAM is good, but it is good for the purpose of waking us up, united, so that we confront the common enemy, the colonialism in our religion, the colonialism in our education, the colonialism in our trade relations. So we have to really agree that enough is enough. Museveni is giving us a platform to awaken the lion that is sleeping in us.
If we can use this time as well to answer the concerns of the people of Uganda who are part of us from the other side of radio. Margaret says some people would love to ask Dr. Omara, some people Some people are not aware of what NAM is about. We were much excited when it was CHOGM. I think we prepared enough. What happened this time? Why are people not excited about this NAM, yet it is bigger and better compared to CHOGM and when we hosted the Pope for the first time? KCCA, does cutting down of trees in Kampala mean beautifying the city? I thought we were supposed to be adding more trees than cutting those that we already have and which are having the impact on the population because they are already grown. How can you cut a grown-up tree and you plant a young one which you will have to take 20 years to benefit from it? Thank you, the studios, for educating us today. I am Ben from Lira. We are starting to know about this NAM, and I wish you do so many programs and sensitization as for people to fully understand what it is about. It is for my first time to hear NAM actually, and I'm learning a lot from this very program. Thank you so much. How, as if someone says, I am Onyin, as if we did not prepare for this summits. Were informed very late. How come we are panicking at the last hour? I know Africans love working at the last minute, but this is really beyond. Those are concerns coming from the people of Uganda. Allow me start with you, Daniel, and answer such concerns. Then we go to Dr. Omara. Daniel?
Yes, well, thank you, Amon, and thank you.
Cutting all the trees and planting young ones, is that a part of beautifying the city?
Well, before I get to that, I can start with that and bring out a few issues that I've gotten from the panel.
Please.
Cutting down trees. We have infrastructure developments that are going on or that come with some environmental effects. We usually have environmental and social impact assessments. And these are the reports that, or through these reports, we showcase whether we have aligned ourselves to the standards or not. Now, where we are constructing roads and expanding them to allow for drainage, to allow for lighting, to allow for walkways, we may have trees that are within these paths. Now, we are not creating new roads, but rather in the spaces where we had roads. So while we cut down these trees, however painful it is a necessary evil. But to rebut what we have removed, we add more trees. We plant, for every tree that we cut, we plant 5 to 10 other trees. That's why you find that we have areas which didn't have trees in the past. For example, the non-motorized route that is along Loom Street. This place didn't have trees before, but we have trees all the way from Loom Street to Namirembe Road. Areas like Bugolobi, where we have cut down trees, we are going to replant trees. If you look at the road to Kasubi, to the bypass, we have planted trees. If you look at Old Chira Road and Chira Road, we have put up trees along all those areas, and it is green. We have a deliberate campaign of planting more trees, and we believe this will compensate and upgrade or show and pull up our resolve to green the city. I also must note that when my brother, my senior brother, talks of the zero multiplier, I don't. I totally disagree. We work on the principle of the Big Four, anchored on the fact that every Ugandan must have a good life, and that feeds into the global feel of NAM and all the other conferences. We work on in our works, we have patriotism as one of the primary drivers. We have Pan-Africanism. We have socio-economic transformation and democracy. And we have exhibited this. I think government has exhibited this. In the preparation for NAM, for example, all the companies that we have used are local companies. Patriotism. None of the companies that we have used to construct our 10 roads, our drainages, our installing our solar systems is a foreign company. These are local companies by indigenous Ugandans, indigenous Africans. They have worked, they have showcased their capacity to take on certain assignments even when resources are coming in slowly. So that is the patriotic decision to have our local people do local work, and their patriotic commitment to execute these activities, these tasks within time, is a big deal. That is one. And the local content, that is 2. So 1 plus 2 or 1 times 2 is now 2. There is no 0 in there. We are engaging communities.
But he also gave a credit to President Museveni for peace, which is one of the objectives of NAM.
We have engaged communities to be a part of developing Kampala. One of the reasons why you see some of the infrastructure development, for example, in the city, has not taken off as fast as we expected. We have been more engaged as a country, as a city and as a country. One of the biggest achievements, in my view, as a country, is that we have built the mental infrastructure of Ugandans. We have elevated a Ugandan to be capable of auditing government. Before, it was intellectuals who would audit government. But now the citizen of Uganda is capable of auditing government. That is building mental and citizen mental infrastructure. We are engaging communities and telling them that building along a drainage channel is detrimental to the environment and to the property of the people upstream. Whoever is dumping a bottle in a drainage, the cumulativeness, because we are no longer operating in 1980, where the city had 500,000 people. It is the same Kampala. By day, we have 5 million people in this space. By night, we have 2.5 million people. Now, these 2.5 million people, if we go to the element of democracy in our big 4, they need representation. Yes, we are fragmenting. Yes, it may come out as balkanizing, but it is representation, having everybody's voice up on the table. Now you find that we have gotten people out of drainage ways without using the police, without using force, tools of violence, which are a preserve of the state. But we have engaged people to get out of these areas. We are getting people who are trading within road reserves, who are trading within roads, by telling them that when you trade in the middle of a road, you stand a risk of an accident by a passing vehicle. Then we tell the customers that, you see, if you go to this roadside trader and you buy a tampeko of beans, if it is half a tampeko and below they have put papers, you will not find this person. You have no mechanism you have no remedy. Okay. Yet if they go into the markets, they have something. And then we have the issue of upgrading and accommodating communities. Pan-Africanism. If you look at our Chisenyi areas, Kansanga areas, we have our brothers from various parts of this continent. We have our brothers from Eritrea, from Ethiopia, we have brothers from Congo, all of whom are here. Okay. And they're enjoying their stay here. And we are harnessing their capabilities to contribute to our overall social, economic transformation.
Thank you.
So we are moving, not just as a city, but as a country, with even without our knowledge, with the guidance of our founding fathers, that is being reawakened by the current government and the leadership of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Thank you. Dr. Mara, you've heard from the people of Uganda and those who called in and sent their messages. What do you have to answer them?
Thank you, Amon. First of all, let me start with the caller who said that the leadership is betraying us. I beg to differ, and I think the leadership is doing its best to make sure that Uganda is visible on the international stage, that Uganda is playing a major role, and Uganda is contributing to humanity. Now, the fact that the Non-Aligned Movement Summit and the G77 plus China Summit is being held back to back in Uganda is a show of confidence by the international community in the government of Uganda and in the political leadership of Uganda. It is also the first time ever any country in the world is hosting these two conferences back to back. If I'm wrong, somebody can correct me on that one.
You are right, sir.
But I know that is the first time ever. So that's a record that we in Uganda at least can give ourselves a pat on the back about. Now, Maggie mentioned that why is it that people are not aware about NAM? Why are people not excited? That one I would like to admit that we have probably been slow in creating awareness, in informing the public about that, and personally I do apologize on that one. It's my responsibility, but as of now we have intensified awareness creation, and we are trying to inform the public about these two conferences. Then there was something about how come there are no roles of kings and roles of religious leaders and all that. I would like to mention that, first of all, this is a summit for heads of states and governments. It does not say that it is heads of tribes and religious leaders. But I do hope that at some point in future there will be a heads of tribes conference and summit. But I know that the membership of this organization will be attending. It is also attracting attendance from the United Nations, from the World Bank, from observer countries, from academics, youth and women leaders from all walks of life will participate in these two conferences. Local, regional and international delegates will also participate in these two summits. Personally, I do encourage you all to be optimistic and positive. Let us have a positive mindset. These two events are events that promote our country. Even if we come from different beliefs, different tribes or different whatever, let's unite and support and make sure that these two summits are a success. Because when you travel outside and you are, say, in London, nobody will know that you are a Langi, as Dr. Mara is. They will know that Dr. Mara is a Ugandan. and they will congratulate me that, well, you guys hosted a very good conference. They will not know that Dr. Mara is NRM or is NUP or whatever. They will just know that Dr. Mara is a Ugandan. Yeah, so I encourage all Ugandans that we should be positive and optimistic, and we should ask ourselves, what can we do to make this conference a success?
All right.
What can we contribute? You know. Now, somebody did mention that what do we gain from this, from hosting these two conferences? One, this is going to foster South-South cooperation because the fact that the delegates will be talking, this is a sign that at least they are trying to resolve any differences that exist. Now, we also expect key areas like trade, investment, sustainable development, climate change, poverty reduction, as well as the digital economy to be discussed during these two summits. Now, alongside these summits, there are side events that will be taking place, and this includes the East African Community Business Forum and Trade Exhibition. This will be held at the Serena Hotel in Kampala, and of course we expect business deals to be made within that business forum. There are also other side events that includes possibly I have to mention it so that our viewers, our listeners are aware about it. There is the Source of the Nile Women in Agriculture Business Expo and Investment, and this will take place at Serena Chigo Hotel. There is also meeting between government of Venezuela and representatives of member states. There will also be a presentation by the Nyerere Foundation. So those are some of the meetings and side events that will take place that will be beneficial either directly or indirectly to this country. Briefly, I hope I have been able to answer some of those.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay.
And encourage, but I still strongly continue to encourage all Ugandans that let us work together to make sure that these two events are successful.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mara. Before I come to you, the other Dr. Wanga, allow me take a very short break, and when I return, I'll be giving you more time, but also getting your way forward on how important these two events are going to be, how people are going to benefit. I mean, the people of Uganda, especially those. Someone is sending their messages that how are we who are in the private sector being considered when it comes to these two events, and would have to also learn a lot from our guests. I'm taking a very short break, and I'm coming back in just a minute. I pray that you don't go away.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back. Welcome back.
Uganda hosts the 19th Non-Allied Movement Summit in January from 15th to 18th, 2024. This is the sound of a crested crane bird.
We are streaming live on YouTube. Just enter UBC Ground Zero or UBC Live. You'll be part of the conversation. Keep your messages coming through. We shall keep them reading them. And we have a privilege and honor to have Daniel Nwabine, the lead PR KCCA NAM Task Force. We have Dr. Christopher Rwanga, Head of Research and Ideology UBC. We have Melton Kambula is the Peace Service Ambassador coming from Global Peace Foundation. And we also have Dr. Sam Momara is the Head of Public Diplomacy Department coming from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the institution that is organizing these powerful events, Non-Allied Movement and the G77. Ampaire Amon Ortega is my name, and this is your favorite program on Saturday at UBC Ground Zero, that is always live on 4 radio stations and also live on YouTube. You've heard from the people of Uganda, for those who called in and those who are sending the messages. The messages are so very many, but I would have to start read one by Kusemera Catherine, who says, we in the private sector, how are we considered in these big events and conferences? And so many others. I will keep them reading. I think this will be answered by the organizers. If Dr. Mara would make a comment on this, it will be very important for Kusemera to know that they have been also considered. Way forward, your final remarks. If I can start with you, Dr. Ranga, help us wrap it all.
For this wonderful opportunity you have given me. The first way forward goes directly to Kampala State Council Authority. Wherever events come and you put up a show, sustaining that show is always a problem. If I'm to ask you today, where are the flowers you planted for Chogam? The flowers are not there. They have disappeared. So, Bwana Kampala State Council Authority, you have that challenge of sustaining the steam. Then the other element we have is that when we host conferences, much as we may not participate, all of us, but the facilities they leave behind should be designated in a certain way to help the society. If, for instance, we have bought very good fleets of cars for Chogam, for G77, let us reserve them that another event, when it comes, we just polish. Then, of course, if it is Munyonyo which has hosted, can we make use of Munyonyo for other subsequent national events, such that nothing lies silently? Kenya organized the All African Games, I think, in 1977. But they had said that this swimming pool will go for this university. This one will be for Nairobi City Council. So there is a way they earmarked all those facilities at the end. So I don't know whether with the Chogam, whether with the G77 you have earmarked something for us, which we shall be using, and it is friendly to the ordinary person. Then also we have talked more of NAM and G77, and we have forgotten an important ongoing conference.
If you can give me your time, and I realized that we had not given you a chance to answer the people of Uganda, especially those who are sending messages and called in, since some of the messages were directly addressed to you. But as you answer, allow me also get this caller, then we beat them all at once.
Amon, this is Juma from Busega.
You are live and clear.
Let me cut it sharp.
Please.
We are lacking transparency in this country, Uganda. Corruption has got its own strong foundation. As that gentleman was saying, that Shogam flowers, where are they? Yes, Uganda will give you projects, but for the maintenance, it is like to whom it may concern. See, this KCCA, they might be suffering today, but the first leadership within the KCCA, the one mess up with the government themselves. So they will be changing staffs, they will be firing staffs, the community will be at a crisis, but what can we do as community? It is needs you and me, and we show our love for our country. Ugandan have so many things to look at, but now when it comes to financing them, it is a challenge. The one who is in dress up very smart in a suit in parliament there, I want to take the big chunk of it, living in the community in dilemma. So we need good leadership with the transparency, such that corruption is being dealt with. I thank you so much. Happy New Year, Steve.
Happy New Year, Juma.
Yes.
Doctor, you may continue. But also in that way, there is also another question that was addressed to you. Someone says the world is still driven and influenced by the bipolar system, and the developing countries, which are the global south, where all NAM countries belong, are only dancing according to the tunes of those bipolar powers. Dr. Wanga, when do you see this coming to the end, or we are going to keep this forever?
Back by what the some callers are saying, one from Nakao wants to follow up with me, very friendly. You are welcome to UPC Party Headquarters. I'm always available from Monday to Friday, and on Friday I have a special session from 2 to 5 where we teach these ideologies, this thinking, good citizenry. So you are invited. As regards to the budget and people knowing what is going on, most of these issues are discussed in Parliament, in various committees, and even on the gallery. Even Chogam, Nana Line, GIS 47 were all discussed, but the message which is discussed does not reach an ordinary person. We don't know who is involved in that. Yes, we appreciate that the world has been bipolar, but now even bipolar, we have moved from there. We have a single powerful country making the noise, and others are coming in to say, America, it is not your show. Even as China, we are here. Moscow, we are reawakening. Let us try to see things with a multi-polar attitude, not unipolar and not bipolar, because they cause a very big problem. However, the private sector is concerned. The private sector is part of NANI, aligned, and G77. The private sector, I know, is now involved heavily in the transport sector. And in the transport sector, we have motorbikes known as Bajaj Boxer, which hail from India. Indian delegation is here on both sides. So let us engage India such that we are getting Bajaj Boxer directly, or they are manufactured even here.
All right.
Okay, that would be helping. Then, of course, we have also to remind India that you are part of the project for Chinyala Sugar Works. Let us also celebrate it when you are here.
Your last comment, Doctor.
During our time, India surprised us with the Tata, and we created schools which were known as Tata schools. We still believe Tatars work for Uganda better than Fuso trucks. This is our time to engage India and even discuss on having these sort of assembling plants of this magnitude.
Thank you, Doctor.
It can be very, very helpful. Then, of course, we are exporting most of our patients to India and China. This is the time to have a serious conversation that India, come here and you put specialized hospitals. Come here and you give us money power. We are fed up of this air tickets.
Last one on that, Doctor. Time is not on our side.
Okay. Then, of course, finally, I'm happy that you have invited us and we have contributed for the good of the nation. Wherever you invite anybody from Uganda People's Congress, expect our full participation.
Thank you, Doctor.
Because NAM is our baby. G77 is our baby.
Interesting.
What else is not our baby?
Thank you so much, Doctor, and for always making time to come and to inspire and educate the people of Uganda. Kambula, Milton, Ambassador.
My brother, when we say global affluence, actually I thank the President. This has been his terminology for the last 6 years, global affluence. And I thank the late Jacobo Olanya, talking about leaving no one behind. Actually, it was Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga when she hosted the interparliamentary summits during her tenure. When we talk about those two components, I want to conclude by saying that for you to be able to have or achieve global affluence and to supplement it with leaving no one behind, NAM must really use this opportunity to reassess, reevaluate, and remodel the failed systems that they had put in place that are not producing matching outcomes that can position its negotiation with other international bodies to the same level. For example, right now, North Korea is posing a global threat to the whole world, not just the United States. The leadership of NAM, while it is here under the President now chairing, we must find opportunity of accelerating His Excellency's position on it, where he said at the United Nations, who loses if North and South Korea are united? He said that, and I remember the presidents all over the world at the United Nations shaking their head and say, hey, okay, we can have an alternative view on this matter. But no one is investing, is really looking at the unification of the people of Korea, just like as Africa, just as the Middle East, just like Asia. So time has reached that for us to be able to achieve global affluence, we must restructure education to give us a new population to be able to match on the negotiating table. Because when we say denuclearizing the world, seeking United States and Russia to reduce on their nuclear potential that is militaristic and threatening world peace, who must talk that to them? When NAM countries, member countries are divided in coups, poverty, corruption, poor governance, they don't respect rule of law. So we must be example. That's why, Doctor, I like your position on this. And of course, our diplomat cannot fears these things because he's a diplomat. And when we are talking about employment, we are not talking about these house girls you are sending to countries in Asia there. We are not talking about sweepers who are going to sweep Munyonyo. We are talking about significant strategic things here that they must sign in the declaration and commit to the next 100 years and reshape the power and influence of NAM.
All right.
For example, in 2018, my brother, we hosted the Global Peace Leadership Conference, 2018. I was the founder and the engineer of that program, guided by my chairman, our international leaders of our organization. And we brought more than 55 countries. What were we discussing? Peace. And we signed what we call the Kampala Peace Declaration. And IGAD is actually implementing. Interreligious Council of East Africa under Uganda hosting that secretary is implementing. The kings are implementing.
Thank you, Ambassador.
My problem is that, as Doctor said, what is our capacity in sustaining these resolutions? So I must say that this legacy project that the President has given us, it has to go down to the roots, to the grassroots. Plant trees, for example. Every Ugandan, all Africans, all NAM members must all plant trees. We must get out of these slums. We must launch a curricula that will really help young people in the global south become global citizens in the world of technology,
the last one on that,
innovations, and peace building, so that now we have a new NAM member outlook by maybe 2050.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Welcome, please. Daniel, KCCA, how are you concluding all this?
Well, it's getting fiery in here. But I must say that from the benefits. What have we benefited? We have benefited a lot from even the preparations. We have new facilities coming up. Our mobility is getting better in terms of roads that have been constructed. Our environment, our drainage is getting better. But what happened to the flowers?
Yes, please.
What happened to the roads? The roads that we used in Chogam have lasted us another 15 years. Another so many years. Maybe the roads that we are having now in those areas
the NAM
will
roads.
last us. The NAM roads will also last us another, say, 20 years. And our commitment, our promise to the people of Kampala and Uganda is that we are going to harness what we have done, consolidate it, and also make things better. Kampala is rigorously implementing or committed to implementing governments, is rigorously implementing and committed to implementing government's overall commitment to develop KCCA, to develop the roads in Kampala. The president was spot on this. He talked of having now the roads in Kampala worked upon, and we even have a formula on how we are going to work on them. Now, it doesn't stop with Kampala, but also the greater Kampala metropolitan area. We call upon the residents of Kampala, the people operating within Kampala and the greater metropolitan area, everyone who is within this area, and people of goodwill, the religious leaders, like you have talked about them. This is the time for them to pray for us that nothing happens in this period. But let us all welcome, let us embrace our guests, let us embrace these summits and the cooperation that is coming out of it. Let us showcase our country. Let us leave everything behind. Let's be the way we are here with UPC on the table. Let every party, let every religious affiliation, let every Ugandan come together and let us showcase to the world that we are indeed the pearl of Africa. Indeed.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Catherine was interested in knowing the private sector involvement. We have Private Sector Foundation Uganda. It is the institution that has taken leadership on the Invotact Private Sector Foundation Uganda. They will assist you and guide you these events. Now, moderator, I request that you briefly give me some few minutes and I just run through the program as it will be. One, the delegates will be arriving in Uganda from the 14th of January. That means that we don't have many days left. And then on the 15th, the senior officials meeting will commence. On the 16th, the senior officials meeting will continue. It will end with the ministers will arrive in the country on the 16th. Sorry. And the ministers' meeting will commence on the 17th. Usually their meeting is to adopt what the senior officials have submitted to the ministerial meeting. On the 18th, the foreign ministers will meet and then make a final Kampala outcome document that they submit to the heads of state. On the 18th also, we expect the heads of state and governments to be arriving in the country. On the 19th, there will be the opening ceremony of the 19th Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Non-Aligned Movement. On the 20th of January, there will be continuation of the plenary session of the heads of state and government and heads of delegations, and on that very day there will be a closing ceremony of the summit of the heads of states and government of the non-aligned movement.
Okay.
And Uganda will assume its chairmanship from that day.
All right.
Now, departure of these delegates will be on the 21st. That is only for the non-aligned movement. Now, for the G77 plus China summit, arrivals of delegations will begin on the 17th. On the 18th, the senior officials will meet, and on the 18th, the senior officials will meet. 19th, they will continue with the meeting of the ministers.
Okay.
20th, it will be arrival of heads of state. 21st, there will be opening ceremony of the G77 plus China heads of state and government summit.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, and on that same day, there will be statements by heads of state and government and heads of delegations.
Okay.
On 22nd, there will be continuation, and on 22nd, that is when there will be a closing ceremony and handover ceremony of the chairmanship to Uganda.
Now, okay.
Yes.
Your final comment?
My final comments is one. The two summits, you will realize that our president will assume chairmanship of both the NAM and the G77 organizations, and that is an endorsement on the leadership of Uganda, and also it is also an endorsement on the country as a whole.
Okay.
Yes, and I would like to encourage Ugandans to be more positive and optimistic about these summits, because it is for us all and it is not for any individual in particular.
All right.
And the country stands to benefit, but it's because the benefits of these conferences are indirect, like our colleague from KCC mentioned.
Okay, thank you,
if
Doctor.
the roads are improved, then you enjoy it, but you don't exactly feel it or know it that you are actually benefiting from the summits. Thank you very much, and I wish you a restful weekend.
All right. This brings us to the end of our discussion. We've been talking about the 19th Non-Allied Movement Summit that is taking place in Uganda from 15th to 20th January 2024. It was a privilege having you, Dr. Sam Omara, Head of Public Diplomacy Department from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kambula Milton, Peace Service Ambassador coming from Global Peace Foundation, Dr. Rwanga Christopher, Head of Research and Ideology coming from UBC, and of course we had a privilege to have the lead PR KCCA NAM Task Force, Daniel Nwabine. It was great having you gentlemen. Thanks for making time to come and talk to the people of Uganda. Information is power, and you have indeed given power to the people. Thank you for you who has been part of us from the other side of radio, and those who have been following us online on YouTube. Keep it UBC. We shall keep inspiring you, the people of Uganda. Many thanks to the team I worked with. Until next time, same station, same program. Paidamon of Tega is my name. Allow me to sign out.
That was Ground Zero Season 2, a production of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, inspiring Uganda.